friends. Gotta say, I'm very thankful to Santos for doing that. He got a lot of these events followers for me, so I really appreciate what you did. That guy's a master, man. He understands the world and the universe, and now I'm with an advanced class of young philosophers also trying to do the same. So this is for us. This is gonna have some more better content, I think, from the last videos I think I made, and now I know I got some established help here. So I just want to make mention, small little story I was thinking about. Now just imagine that we have probably some microorganism life that's microscopic, that we cannot see, whose lifespan, if he was a living tiny man and existed, probably the size of like COVID. Well, it doesn't exist, so we would have to say a little something different, probably a little germ or so that was lived the life of a small man, and also that within the span of 15 seconds lived about 75-80 years, and within that time span he remembers about probably 50 years worth, which would be about 10 seconds long worth of life. And while he lives in that 10 seconds or that 15 seconds, he only remembers about 7 seconds of it. But if he taps into about a good 10 seconds worth of that life, which would be about a good 50 years, he would be able to remember probably some pretty deep thoughts that the human body which you have, which would equate to infinite or probably millions upon thousands of years, he would be able to tap into that and have those thoughts, and those would be the shadows of images equating to millions of years old from your mind. So just imagine each of those human bodies carrying these microorganisms, each human body being a type of universe or a god or a functioning entity that would equate to many gods, many people on the earth, and thus would equate to the unlimited amount and infinite amount of universes being born and perishing every day. So with that thought, I wanted to also make mention, with that small description of Akashic Records, what we are here to accomplish, really, because it seems like a lot of people every day, I mean, since this whole COVID thing has been happening, people have been really finding a way to make themselves less helpful than before. But let's remember that, you know, despite that, there's somewhere in your heart that's striving to find truth, and with that, that's a huge responsibility that we carry, because you can't go around just punching somebody in the face that's just being rude to you. So the new way of accomplishing that or defeating that is to, I know it's probably cliche, but we got to kill him with kindness, and with the kindness that comes a lot of knowledge, and to distribute that knowledge, we want to do it with stride and zest. So we want to kind of put a little swag on it. So this time, you know, people are taking something away as you're being nice and you're going out of the way to show them something that they're not used to. Let them learn from it. Let them see something in you that they can take away from it. You know, when I was a kid, I used to look up to Tupac. I mean, I still do. I think he's dope. One time during an interview for one of the videos, I think it's for When My Homies Call, he was being interviewed by MTV, and they were asking him, you know, since rap at that time was pretty explicit at that time, mind you, I said. So they, you know, he threw around the word thug a lot, and to them, you know, to be a thug was, well, to MTV, them, I meant them, is to be, you know, kind of an outlaw or a troublemaker. But what Pac said to to answer that interviewer from MTV's question was he mentioned, you know, when he was a kid, to be a gangster was to be a revolutionary. Now, the words got misunderstood throughout the years, and so that's why he was represented as a thug, because they didn't know, like he said when he was coming up, kids didn't know what the word revolutionary was. That was more of like the 60s Black Panther era, and to be a gangster was more fitting for that time. So during the time we coming up, to be a gangster was to be a revolutionary, in other words. And that's what he was trying to explain, that we are trying to change something, to be not just outlaws, but to be showing the opposite of what would you even say, establishment. So like a government would set these laws in place, and these laws would apply in places that don't really matter, and say you do call an authority to collect on that law, or, you know, try to straighten it out, there is no justice with that. So today in this video, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the dualities, and with the dualities, which is basically just an illusion, and a temporal illusion for that. So we are going to learn from ignorance, basically. To be ignorant is a beautiful thing, because you're actually able to you're an empty cup that we get to fill with beautiful clean water. So that's what we're doing today. And a good example in symbolism we can always use is the statue of Isis placed between the pillars of Jachin and Boaz, or the world virgin. See, she's the reconciler of the two polar productivities of the world. Now these bring unity in this illustration, because what you're looking at here is two polar opposites, and she stands between them, the mother virgin. So there's a significant illustration with that mother virgin, because she's what gives birth to the hero son, the Horus, the hero of Egypt. So let's kind of delve into what we're talking about here. It's a little clunky, so we're gonna narrow it down and kind of make some more sense of that. I want to start probably with Plato's Republic. Last time I mentioned a story from Book 10 where he was talking about Ir, who was a warrior in battle. Well, this time we're going to talk about, I know you heard it, if you follow Santos, you've heard him talk about Ken Wheeler, and Ken Wheeler loves to talk about this this uneven line, the divided line in Plato's Republic in 510E, and it kind of goes on. It's Socrates and Glaucon, the brother of Plato, and they're having these discussions about symbolisms, and they kind of started with an argument, and then it kind of led to light, because light is a good symbol of radiance, and radiance basically is an outpouring. In other words, an outpouring needs something receptive to receive. So this is what we're talking about here. The female negative polarity is a receptive kind of nature, while the male positive is more of the outpouring or giving kind of nature. So, and I don't mean giving as in like we're charitable. This is something that's more along the lines of distributing or discharge. Yeah, so here we go. I wanted to kind of probably throw actually I got the illustration right here, the divided line. Well, that's not going to work. Okay, so we'll put that right here. And the divided line, we see the visible and intellect, or invisible, corporeal and incorporeal. This is pretty much what the virgin represents, because she's the female, which now we're not saying that females are negative. That's totally not what we're shooting for. It is an ancient symbolism, being she is the one and he is the one and she is the second. He's not dividable, she is dividable. So she is the one that is the carrier of the sperm, which is also the birther of life. So this is what that means. So in other words, matter and ether, that's what we're going to use. Probably is easier to point out. Now, one of the things that they were talking about was in Plato's Republic was sight, and the symbol of sight would be the sun, and also the sun having its male connotation to be a positive or a forceful kind of. And if we represent it in the Freemasonry pillars of Jachin and Boaz, it would have to be Jachin, and that is the white pillar, and then Boaz the dark pillar. And what their basic understandings are or we can call them Yahaz and Boaz. And the Egyptian version of that would be it would be Tat and Tatu. And then also Santos likes to use proton electron, or male female, Jupiter Saturn, right turning left turning, magnetism electricity, dielectric, no, rewind, radiating, pulsing energy, no vibration to electromagnetic, dielectric, inertia and acceleration. So the reason why Boaz has 2 is because it represents the female. So it distributes form. So that's what we're talking about. That's what we're going to use with this illustration here. So I'm going to put underneath matter. We're going to put like A here, B, C, and D. Now you notice the uneven line is cut in a larger section and a smaller section, and the smaller section is going to represent the visible. And there's 2 ways of understanding this clarity of distinction. That's what we're basically trying to distribute here. So out of ignorance, we're going to bring organization and something useful for us to use. So right now I see in the measure of clearness, so we're going to put light and power. Socrates said sight is symbolized by the sun, and so light, as the sun is outpouring, our eye is receiving visibility, not just the light from the sun, but we're able to see what the light is beaming onto, so you can, have clear visible direction in what you're doing. So light and power. Also here we got, I guess, offspring. So this would be results, offspring. And then influence. Okay, and then from here we'll have belief. This is what we're going to get as the result from matter. And then from here we're going to have dialectical thought. Dialectical. So what that means is that if I was to say somebody is teaching math class, you would be like, well, what is he teaching? And I said he's teaching multiplication. I don't have to break down a math problem for you to see through the work what multiplication is. You hear the word multiplication or you see the symbol and you know what kind of answer to look for. That's what this side means, this intellect or the ether side. The visible side would be like a shadow or a reflection of matter. So, and then the belief side would actually be the object, a tree, a dog, any of those things. So let's see, we could put images. So we're gonna put like the reflections. So water, and then shadows, and then we want to put, this would be like perception. Oh, that looks horrible. Perception, belief. We can even put faith. Let's just go with faith. It's probably alright. And then from there, this is more of like, well, we'll just leave it like that. And then we'll put a tree here. I live in a desert, so don't ask me where I learned to draw trees. There we go. That looks like a happy little tree. I'm not Bob Ross, but I can do that. And put maybe a dog here with some droopy ears. And then I'll put his little nose. And then maybe a little, probably be sitting down. Now, as I'm doing this, you guys are seeing this come together. Now, it's not a clear Picasso painting or a Van Gogh, but it's something you're able to use as tangible to the eye. Now, if we did like ideas of the ether, this would be understanding. So understanding is feminine. It means that you're receiving wisdom. So wisdom is outpouring, and understanding is feminine. So basically, you're on the feminine side here. This would be here we'll put understanding, and then this would be matter, and okay, yeah, so, and then that would be wisdom here, right? Idea. Alright. And then we got cubes here. Sphere. And then we got pyramid. And anyway, these are three-dimensional shapes. And then from here we would get the reasoning for your answer. So this would be like a beauty, justice, that sort of thing. And now what would top all of this, would, I don't know if it's called opinion. Well, we'll put opinion. It's okay, she can chew. Opinion and knowledge. This would be idea. Which would be, if we had to probably symbolize idea, we would have to call idea the Ein Sof of the Hebrews, or Ptah of the Egyptians. It would be Zerawani Arkan of the Zoroastrians. It would be beyond whatever Jehovah would be in the Bible, in other words, because Jehovah would be a creating factor. He's the distributor. He's the contractor that puts the workers in motion, in other words. His boss would be the idea. That's the guy you don't see with the office door closed behind him. Now, let's see here if we can find some more clarity to the poles of Jachin and Boaz here. So from here, that would probably be, so ether. I'm gonna draw a big line here, and we would put Osiris. I love to study Osiris and Isis. I live for those stories. So actually, that would be Typhon. It would be Isis also, because she's the female who does give birth to Christ. But the ultimate polar opposite of Osiris would be Typhon, because he's what initiates the whole problem that begins with all of this. So we'll put Typhon there. Typhon sends out, he has a big party and invites Osiris to it, and Typhon has all his homies there, and these guys, 72 of them is who he calls to go and hang out. And Osiris already outnumbered, but he's cool, you know. He steps into the function. He's feeling real saucy, right? Coming in, he's a nice guy. Everybody likes him. Real likable type dude. And Typhon has this brand new chest, and he's like, "Yo, come check it out. I want you to see if you can fit in it. You know, you're kind of like the perfect guy, you know. And I think this thing is made for you." So, you know, he's looking at this box. It's looking right, plush, right? You know, and then Osiris steps right in it. And as soon as he does, Typhon and his boys, they nail it shut. They wrap it up real good, and then they toss it in the river, and he is no longer. So once he is gone, Isis, his wife, sends out a search party, can't find him. And then one day, along the banks of the Nile, Isis comes across him. He gets he's actually stuck in like a little embankment area that it floated off to, and landed in a little area where it's underneath a tamarisk tree. So she took it, she hit it, and I think that tree actually belonged to a king or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back and, you know, find with a fine-tooth comb and kind of brush up on the details. But anyway, she gets that tree, and when she sticks him in it with the coffin and all, eventually he becomes that tree. The tree kind of engulfs him, and then she chops it down and gets the you-know-what out of it. Yep, the phallic. And then she ends up keeping that as the mold, because once Typhon finds out what she did, I think Horus kind of accidentally spilled the beans somehow, and her sister Neith ends up helping out in the story by accident, because she actually knew Osiris from back in the day, and then she accidentally had some baby daddy drama with him, and so yeah, he ended up fathering a son to Neith. Alright, ran out of I guess, time, I guess. So I was left off kind of where, yeah, Isis had a child. No, it was Neith. Neith had a child, or Nephthys. Nephthys had a child with Osiris, and that child ended up being Hermanubis. So one of the good guys on the bad guy team. So just like like us black and brown families, we always have some good guys on the bad guy team, and that's what he did. He ended up leading her to find where Typhon was at, and Horus ended up jumping the gun and went to war with them. It said that Typhon lost a testicle and Horus lost an eye. So that's the story that that's the Egyptian tale we got there. Now, also too, Adam and Eve, they had their children, Cain and Abel. I ended up running into Cain and Abel, which is same thing with like red and blue, left and right again. And then also you'll see that also with Cain, who is the son of Eve, and Abel, the son of Adam, they both have their ultimate destination where they end up meeting their fates. Cain is a bad guy, so he's, but he comes from the red, and then Abel is represented in blue. Right there also in the middle of the name, in Abel, you'll see Bel, Abel, which is the Babylonian god Bel. And then also, I guess with Adama and then Eve, or Kava, you'll see that even with her name, Eve is life. So again, you'll see the double distribution there of twins, which is Cain and Abel. But Kava is also Kefa, which is the symbol for Sekhet, who is the mother to Atum Ra. Her and Ptah have children, and she's represented as the Kefa, and that is the Hebrew word that which carried over. They absorbed it into their traditions, and she ended up becoming Kafa, and that's spelled with CH, not just the H sound he in Hebrew, but the CH, Kava. So like Hanukkah or whatever. And then same thing, you'll see it with Haram Abif, which Haram Abif is Hiram Abi, which is Father Most High. So right there with, let me spell it out, Kava, or Egyptian Kefa, equates to Eve. The word Eve comes from that, evenness. Adama, odd, and then Eve, or Keva, or evenness, or Venus. Mars and Venus, same thing, red and blue. So we're back again to the male-female thing. And I just realized something also with the Jachin and Boaz. If we take a look from the Kabbalistic viewpoint, which is also Hebraic, we'll see, and Egyptian as well, you'll also exhibit that Chakma is wisdom, and Binah is what? For all the whiz kids out there, it's understanding. So again, we're back to the receptive understanding, the indrawing understanding, and the Chakma, the outpouring libation of distributing wisdom or information. So just like Socrates was trying to say, we use the eye for sight to see what's in front of us, but not only does it work that way through the exterior purposes, through your eye, but also through the soul, which is also an eye, because it takes in light, which is good. And we already established that through the uneven line, that good is God, basically. So of God. So we take in the good or the godness through the mind's eye or the body's eye, and then from there you're able to distribute more I don't even know what to call it, more ableness, more ability to make better decisions, or to move forward through making to coming to a result with your idea, basically, in other words. So again, if we're looking at the polarities, I like to look at, let's see here, we got electron, proton, we already went through that. Also with the agents and patients, we got fire and water. That's the agents, and patients would be air and earth. Fire and water would be light and caloric, and then or caloric, and then air and earth is electric, magnetic. What else do we notice here? Also the exaltations in the stars. Through the male perspective, you'll see exaltation through Saturn, which is earth and magnetism, through Capricorn, and Mars is exalting there through his fire, electric, 28 degrees or so. If you jump across, you have exaltation in Cancer, which is water, magnetism, with Jupiter in its 15 degrees Cancer sign with air, magnetism. What you'll notice here also is expansion and compression. Fission, fusion. Fire, liquid. Let's see. Centripetal. No, centripetal, centrifugal. King, prince. You'll see also cold and dry, and then warm and dry. So we're seeing a few things here. We're ultimately looking at the all here, and then the limited or polarity here, the temporal. Yeah, that's basically what we're looking at. So if I had to basically sum it all up, these are all basically aspects of the same thing, and what you're ultimately trying to get to or accomplish is the dissolution of polarity. You want to be able to recapitulate and come up with a solution for all these double meanings, or these two means of the same thing, basically. So if you really look at it, all they are opposites of the same thing. Just like you'll have Osiris and Typhon, it's Orpheus in the back eye that murdered Orpheus and tore him apart. Hercules and Juno, Zoroaster and Ahriman. Let's see, Zagreus and the Titans, Jupiter the Titans, Krishna and Kansa, Jesus and King Herod, Odin and Loki. It's Hiram Abiff with the three Jews, which are also the three winter signs, or signs at the end of the season. Let's see, what else are you seeing here? I guess what we're basically trying to get at is to realize that through this idea, the conclusion, the field of intellect will drive its thought to build the idea not with visible forms, but to resemble the bequested answer. So the eye of external vision is relinquished with the eye of mind when it is devised upon what it's looking for. So thus the world virgin stands between. Also the Christ, when he's standing on top of Golgotha between two thieves, he is finding equilibrium between two bad things, something that cannot come to reconciliation. Jachin and Boaz, we see also represent nature and their productivity through those two opposites. So that's basically what we're seeing here. It's also the sun and the moon. Basically, when we get down to it, the sun distributes his energy, and the sun receives, or the moon receives whatever it can and reflects upon through the night. And that is basically a resemblance or a reflection of our thoughts during its dark time. So when we don't have the sight of venerable light, you're using the reflective light from the moon to take into the soul, and that's what indraws sometimes the negative thoughts. But in the end, he's even like Hermes and Quetzalcoatl, he takes in at the very end of his death, when he's carried upon and he dies, to Mount Orizaba. So he's basically the word Orizaba is like golden star. So Orizaba, and we know is like a star. So yep, we're back again, square one, back to the advancement of the soul. If you want to be able to reach a higher ground when it comes to life, you don't want to just settle with what you're used to being or what you're used to doing. It's every day to be able to reconcile, to learn how to improve just a little bit more. That's basically what I was trying to get at, that you deal with things sometimes on a level where you don't agree with people, or people don't agree with you. There's atheists, and then you got people who are super religious. Superstition versus evolution, which is also another type of religion and superstition, but that's eventually all the same thing. It's a belief system that somebody saw through their mind's eye that made sense to them, and there's no way you can tell that person, no, I don't agree with that, or no, that's wrong. But really what we have to do is reconcile. We got to take science with religion and learn how to get extract the truth out of it, because there is truth within it. So if this doesn't apply or make sense to you, it's all right. Eventually it'll come down to it. I know there's still people out there that love to settle their disputes with just cracking somebody in the face, but that's not gonna get you the ultimate result, which is advancement, to move forward, to be a better person, because that's what we're here to do. This is a schoolhouse, and we're here to learn and get better at whatever it is we have. So try to take in some of this information. Hopefully it was good enough to where you can implement this every day. But now is the time, because this world is it's in its low point right now. I'm sure it's not as bad as other times, but right now you're here and you're having to find some kind of reconciliation in it. So if these words help, use them, spread it around, get the word out, yell it from the rooftops. Try to see if you can help somebody by passing this along to them, and maybe it might rub off. So try to hang in there, and we'll catch you again the next episode. And if I got some more good insight, I promise I'll pass it along to you. Until then, namaste, homies. Yeah.